Hey, what's up guys? This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's something that I kind of had to discover on my own out of necessity. If you watch any of my videos, you know that I do a little bit of tech work on the side just as a hobby, just to make a little extra money and as favors for people I know too. And because I live in the heart of Minneapolis, I can't just go out in my backyard and shoot my guns there and to test them out after I've teched them, which means I do all my teching in my basement. And you can see here my basement workbench. There's my limestone foundation walls. So if you've ever wondered where my videos take place, that's it. And shooting a paintball marker in your basement's not the cleanest, or it's usually a messy thing, because even if you shoot it at some kind of target, it's going to splatter everywhere, but really the only way to finish teching a marker is to check the velocity, especially with autocockers. So much of the tuning goes into adjusting the HPR, the high pressure regulator, in conjunction with the hammer and valve springs. So I had to come up with some way of creating a backstop to control the splatter and mess. And I also didn't want to use reballs because, well, they're kind of expensive, honestly. And using just leftover paint that I have sitting around is a much better, much cheaper option for me. So here's the thing I came up with first. I just took an old Rubbermaid container and kind of started modifying it. So the first thing I did was, without this piece of wood in here, I just shot paintballs just right at the back of the plastic. And what happened with that is the splatter just came right straight back at me. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I control the splatter? So I added the towel, which you can see here, and just kind of made like a little dip in it, and that's what I shoot through. Well, even that wasn't enough. Stuff still was, the shell and little bits of splatter kept spraying back at me. So the next thing was I added this is just like a chunk of scrap wood that's screwed into the Rubbermaid container at an angle, and this is just, there's screws here and then there's screws back here. And for a little while that was the best I could come up with. You can't really see here too, but I have this whole thing is kind of tipped back a little bit. I've got a piece of wood down here so that the paint kind of collects down here in the bottom. But as you can see, it still kind of makes a mess, and quite often still, even with this steep angle deflecting the spray and the shell downwards, I still get an occasional spray just straight back and just makes a mess all over. So I wanted to come up with something better, and so now I'm going to show you what I just built. And it took me, I don't know, literally 5 minutes to make and about $25 worth of parts. So hold on a second and I'll show you what I made. Alright, so this is the contraption that I came up with. It's made out of 3-inch PVC pipe. So I bought, the hardware store near me sells these, like, I think they're probably somewhere between 24 and 36-inch pieces. So I bought one of those, and then a 90-degree elbow, and then down in here, you can't see it, but down in here is the rest of the 3-inch pipe. So that extends down into the bucket. Now I bought this bucket because I wanted this rig to look kind of nice, and then I wanted a lid that was solid and could fit the bucket tightly. But if you have a bucket laying around with a nice lid, you obviously could use that. But all these parts together was about $25 at the hardware store. Maybe you already have stuff like this laying around, but the idea is you shoot into this end, and I think that the chronograph only needs like 1 or 2 feet, so you can actually get pretty close. And it doesn't look like a big target, but honestly, when you're that close, it should be pretty easy to hit. But you just shoot right down this tube, and because this is kind of confining the splatter, and then this part of the elbow is acting as that kind of deflector, it just kind of funnels all the shell and the splatter down in here, and then there's very little chance for things to spray back at you. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. Here you go. You can see I was able to get kind of a downhill slope here, just in case anything splatters up in here. It still has a chance to run down and not drip out this way. So everything will go down into the bucket. The reason I put the whole at the back of the bucket here is just a matter of balance. This is kind of front heavy, and with the hole here, most of the weight's shifted towards the back of the bucket, and that kind of acts as a counterbalance. So now down inside here, to get that propped up at an angle, I put a little piece of plywood right down here inside, behind this vertical piece of PVC, and that just keeps it propped up so it's sloped downhill like that. So I just used it for the first time a few minutes ago here, and so far it's working great. I just got one little drop of paint on me, but it certainly wasn't spraying all over the room, and it's so far a much better way of you know, shooting your markers in the basement or in your garage and keeping that mess contained. And then when this obviously gets filled up, this is really easy to wash out. I'll just take the lid off, hose it all down, and it'll be good to go. It's all plastic, so it's just, you know, really easy to clean up. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys what I made. If you have any ideas for refining my design, or if you have any ideas of your own, or maybe you can link me to some things in the comments. But yeah, let me know what you think.